My name's Brian Russell, and I'm a sculptor. I like to build things. I'm a welder, I'm a woodworker, but definitely, blacksmithing is a huge part of who I am, and it's a very fun sport. To get a piece of metal hot and hold it in your hand, and hammer on it, use the power hammer, and to stretch it and shape it and bend it, texture it, and it's there. It's all right in front of you. It's done. And if you want to heat it up again and bend it or shape it some more, you can. It's exciting to manipulate hot metal, to get a piece of steel or bronze or aluminum or copper. I've always been comfortable working with different materials. To me, it's all the same. You're a maker. You want to make things, and the material is at your service. You're not at the beck and call of this particular material. If it doesn't suit you, get something else. The one that really kind of started me on this public art area was at Ballet Memphis, at their headquarters, and it's on Trinity Road in Cordova. It has 5 support arms that jut up from this very modern glass and stainless steel curved roof structure, and these are designed to support some sculptures. So I made these aluminum dancers, and they're very gestural. They're drawn originally from life. I went to the dance studio and rehearsals and watched the dancers and just became enamored with ballet. I'd never been to the ballet, and now we go. So that was an excellent side benefit to be exposed to that beauty. Then there was a project at Wolf Chase Galleria, and it was going in between the carousel court and the food court. So I made these 9-foot tall forks and spoons and a big giant dinner plate. They're quite fun. They're just huge though. And so a lot of people have seen that one. It's in the mall, so you can easily visit that. I did a parking lot sculpture over on Aaron Drive and Poplar Avenue for a shopping center that was being renovated. And so I designed this kind of Celtic-looking, almost a torch to be out in the front of the buildings there. The most recent one that I've done has been at the Church Health Center, which is at Peabody and Bellevue in Midtown. They wanted to let passersby and clients know that this entire area was Church Health Center, because it's 3 separate buildings that really don't look like they belong to each other. They wanted to talk about the 6 virtues from the New Testament, because that sort of embodies their mission statement, and the virtues are compassion, humility, patience, gentleness, kindness, and love. Each sculpture represents one of each virtue. So I've used different languages. There are 13 different languages that the virtues were translated into by native speakers. There's a 3-part metal which represents the Trinity. There are different details in the metalwork that again relate to each virtue in a very abstract way. They're illuminated. They have internal lighting. I think overall they wanted some beautiful things out in front of their buildings to inspire patients and staff who were coming there to take their mind off you're going to the doctor, and to take their mind off maybe their troubles for a brief instant. And it was a wonderful place to work at, wonderful people to work with, and everybody's been very, very pleased with it. It certainly has changed that block in Midtown. My name's Brian Russell, and I'm a sculptor. I like to build things. I just grew up helping my dad. He was an amateur cabinet maker, boat builder, and tinkerer. And so all of my growing up, I was just suffused with, if you needed something, you made it. You know, you want a boat? Make a boat. All right, want a workshop in the backyard? Build a workshop in the backyard. And so I got to the point where I wanted to make art. I wanted to make things that were beautiful and spiritual, things that were on a higher level than a mundane, practical item. I was interested in glass, and I'd done a little bit of glass blowing, but I didn't really like the look of glass blowing, the, you know, shiny, roundish, melty. What I wanted was something where I could get these sharp edges, you know, thick sections, a more sculptural look. The Hemisphere series started out with the idea of just making a simple glass hemisphere sitting on a nest of forged steel pieces that were kind of like twigs. And so I took that idea and I made one. And I thought, this is a nice little piece. And while I was making that one, I thought, I could do this to it. And then all of a sudden I had a half a dozen ideas, all using the same basic idea. And I was just filling up sketchbooks. I was just making these things. And I think I've made 114 of them. So that's a very large series. You start with a wax blank. That is then warmed up to make it bendable and workable. This wax shape is then invested into a plaster mold. You melt the wax out of this, which leaves the negative space inside. That's then placed in a kiln, heated up to about 1600 degrees, and after a day, you're ready to pour the hot glass into it. The hot glass is at about 2000 degrees, and it's poured in from these 10-pound crucibles. It's pretty thick, pretty viscous. And then the glass has to cool very slowly. It usually takes about a week. Once it cools down to room temperature, you can take the mold off of the glass. For most of these hemispheres, I've taken these forged pieces and I make a pile of parts and start welding them together. There's a good amount of Dadaism, of randomness to putting these together. So it's this sort of organic. I mean, just the way a bird will build a nest, they sort of know what they're doing, right? They know they're building a nest, but they're not examining every single piece of straw and moss and saying, oh, this is the ideal one to go here. They're picking it up and they're going, where am I going to put this? You know, it's not belabored. So it's a nice contrast between the heavily belabored glass and this very direct 45 minutes of welding and you're done bit of metalwork. And you put the two together and they work together quite nicely. Beauty is not simply a abstract concept. I mean, there's concrete beauty. Okay, you have things that are beautiful, and they have an effect. And what is that effect? And is that a worthwhile thing, or is it just playtime? You know, and Beethoven's symphonies, is that just entertainment? Is what I'm doing entertainment? Or does it have a higher value in society? And I decided that yes, it does. It has the value of counteracting bad, okay, by trying to make people stop and think that this is an unusual thing. It's a beautiful thing. And that's necessary. And so it's sort of, if there is an overall equation, I'm trying to balance on the side of good, okay, and beauty.